Tonight, underwater habitats are dwindling, but one OSU scientist is studying how global warming is affecting coral reefs.
In downtown Corvallis.
Finally, what's playing this weekend? Allison Headley is talking to us about the third installment of the Hangover movie series. We'll have all that and more on tonight's edition of the Beaver News. Good evening and welcome to your final edition of the Beaver News for spring term. I'm Ashley VanPelt.
And I'm Anna Singer. We're glad you could join us this evening.
Scientists say global warming is causing major changes in our environment. The OSU zoology professor Eli Meyer is focusing on one creature who may have more to say than we think. Professor Meyer is trying to understand how drastic climate changes are affecting reefs around the world and why they are disappearing. Shortly after being hired, he began testing coral specimens in his lab to see if there's a relation between the disappearance of reefs and global warming. Tonight, Beaver News reporter Theo Hendrickson has a closer look at Meyer's research.
Coral reefs, the garden of the ocean. Will they be here forever, or are we seeing a dying breed?
Something like 30% of the corals worldwide are gone, and there's this ongoing decline of coral reefs. And we saw that there was a big gap in our knowledge of coral biology.
Myers has been doing research at OSU for about a year, and his research sets him apart from other marine biologists.
I started the same way all coral biologists do. You travel to some exotic location and go scuba diving and collect the corals. And most of the corals came from places like SeaWorld in Florida and the Omaha Zoo. A few of them came from nature. I collected some from Flower Garden Banks off the coast of Texas.
Myers is researching the effect of global warming on coral reefs worldwide, and he is looking at the genetic makeup of coral to find a solution to their disappearance.
If there's no heritable variation, then they're doomed. They can't adapt. If there is heritable variation, then there's the potential for them to adapt to global warming. And so that issue nobody had been addressing. So that's what really got me interested in corals, is trying to fill that gap.
With his continuing research, Myers hopes to save the coral population so that we can preserve our underwater gardens. This is Theo Hendrickson with the Beaver News.
Meyer hopes to understand this concept in depth by keeping coral reefs in warm temperature waters. He will also be collaborating with Kevin Clifford from the Oregon Coast Aquarium to continue his studies.
Congratulations to Brett Deeden and Victoria Redmond, our new ASOSU President and Vice President for the 2013-14 school year. Last night, ASOSU inaugurated President Deeden and Vice President Redmond during a joint session of Congress. Deeden and Redmond will serve these positions for 1 year and will be in control of making important decisions regarding the school through student government. Accompanying the inauguration, outgoing leaders Amelia Harris and Dan Cushing gave a farewell speech where they spoke of their accomplishments over their term as president and vice president.
Preparation has finally begun for MUPC Flattail Music Festival and the Battle of the Bands. Throughout the afternoon, Memorial Union staff and volunteers have been preparing the quad for the biggest music festival of the year. These festivities start tomorrow and tonight at 4:30 p.m. where local bands will battle it out to claim $500 in honor of opening the act of the Flattail Music Festival. On Saturday, Flattail will begin at 6 p.m. and will include major acts such as Soul, DJ Vu, Mosley Wada, and headliner Hoodie Allen. Previously, performance as festivals have included artists such as OK Go, Neon Indian, and Macklemore. Flattail Music Festival will be a ticketed event with a $5 surcharge. However, if you're an OSU student, you will automatically receive a free ticket. While supplies last, can't make it to the concert, KBVR will be broadcasting the entire event live on air and online at kbvr.com.
Do you enjoy watching celebrities dance their way to America's Hearts on TV? Well, so does the OSU Ballroom Dance Division. So much so that they have decided to host their own version of Dancing with the Stars this evening at LaSalle's Stewart Center. Notable OSU students and faculty have spent weeks practicing with dance professionals from the ballroom dance groups and will perform dances like the waltz, samba, and the country two-step. The faculty that will be competing were selected based on their impact and influence on campus, and they all have little to no experience on the dance floor. This is the third year of Dancing with the OSU Stars, and it will begin tonight at 7:30 p.m., with tickets available for purchase at the door.
Rock and roll if rock and roll is not your thing, can't make it to the bands, well, tonight the Oregon State University choirs are hosting their annual Spring Sing. Directors Tina Bull, Russ Christensen, and Donna Cragen have put together 3 choir groups that will be performing throughout the night. These choirs include Bella Voce, OSU Meister Singers, and the Sanford Primary Senior Choir. This event will be held at First United Methodist Church and will begin at 7:30 p.m. Tickets can be purchased at the door for $10 general admission, but if you have your student ID, you can get in for free.
Clothing around campus can be expensive, and for students looking for a new attire on a budget, going to big-name stores just isn't an option.
But while finding a new wardrobe for a low price is important, it's equally important that those clothes look good.
Well, one place in Corvallis might have what you're looking for. Beaver News reporter Theo Hendrickson has a look behind the racks at second glance.
Finding clothing can be a tiresome process. But fashion recycling is an alternative to finding the right words for your body.
Fashion is, for me, getting your money's worth out of what you wear, because when you wear it, you feel good. How many people can say that they get to play in a big closet all day long? And that's what I get to do.
Nizel's goal is to sell affordable designer apparel, where she gives back to not just the public, but the earth as well.
It is a service. It's a service for our community. You know, keeping things out of the landfill, helping things get a second life. You know, we're not just one store, we're 3 stores. And so 5 years ago, we added our high school college store, the Annex. And a year and a half ago, we added our men's store, the Alley.
Second Glance is not only known for their reasonable prices, but also for their great customer service.
Okay. People come here because they feel they're very comfortable and they relate well to us. And so I think that's like the biggest thing is if we were just a regular store where people were nameless to us, it wouldn't matter. But we know a lot of people by name.
I've been here for a long time because my stepmom started bringing me here when I was little, middle school, high school. And I keep coming in because everything's always different every time I come in, so there's always a good find.
Clothing allows you to say more with what you wear. Expressing yourself to new alternatives could lead to some great finds. This has been Theo Hendrickson with the Beaver News.
So Anna, do you ever shop at secondhand stores?
You know, I do. I actually love secondhand clothing, and I definitely shop them. It saves me money. I know some people are kind of skeptical because they think it's weird wearing, you know, other people's clothes, but I love it. It works for me. So what about you?
Sadly to say, I'm an online shopper, but being an OSU student, being a college student, I should be shopping bargaining.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of secondhand stores in Corvallis, so you should check them out, definitely. Yeah. Tuition rates have jumped. Last school year, tuition costs increased by 6.9%, and last week, the statewide university school board decided to increase tuition to an additional 5.9% for next year. This increase is an additional punch to students who are already borrowing money for school, which recent estimates state that nearly 60% of all OSU students are doing. High tuition costs aren't the only thing we have to pay for, though. With extended major requirements and tuition increases, many students are finding it hard to stay in school long enough to complete their degree. So what are students encouraged to do? The Bureau of Labor Statistics suggests that you don't stop halfway through getting your degree because those without them have significantly higher unemployment rates compared with those who finished getting their degree. Tuition rates are only predicted to keep increasing, so plan on finishing your degree sooner rather than later.
But rising tuition costs won't affect some students and those who will be graduating. 2013. This will be in OSU's 114th commencement ceremony and will take place on Saturday, June 15th, beginning at 10:30 a.m. ASOSU President Emil Harrison will have the opening ceremony, and the event will showcase several of guest speakers, including keynote speakers, Bridgener, General Julie A. Benz. This year's graduating class will walk from the Memorial Union to Reser Stadium, where they will cross the stage to receive their diploma. Congratulations once again to OSU Class of 2013.
Well, we're coming up on an awfully busy weekend, but if you're going to concerts isn't your thing, or if you need a break from studying, there's always the movies.
And here to tell us her opinion of the latest movie to hit the silver screen in Beaver News movie critic Allison Headley for a final edition of Allison at the Movies.
Thanks, Anna and Ashley. Seeing as this is my last movie review, I decided to review a movie that I was excited to see. I have to admit I am a huge Zach Galifianakis fan because I think he is hilarious and he hails from my home state of North Carolina. And who doesn't enjoy a Bradley Cooper film? So here we go. Last week marked the end of an era for Todd Phillips and his wolf pack and their journey of causing trouble and creating laughs everywhere they went. This time, the troublesome troop of guys that include Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, and you can't forget Zach Galifianakis caused havoc in Mexico and returned to their original stomping grounds of Las Vegas. I have not seen a Zach Galifianakis film that I didn't laugh at, and this was no exception. However, this film's big downfall was the same as The Hangover 2's. You can try as hard as you want to, but the original is the best one of the series because it was fresh, and now we have seen the same old story over and over again. With that being said, this one was a lot better than the second Hangover, but still not as good as the original. Galifianakis was on point in this film with his one-liners. There was never a dull moment. Todd Phillips, we know that you can produce funny films. However, that didn't mean that you could give me a hangover on the Hangover franchise. As much as I love the quick wit and excellent one-liners, I have watched a bad knockoff of your original film twice now, and your biggest crime is that you helped create the knockoffs. On the Headley scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I give The Hangover a 6 out of 10, mostly on the fact that Zach Galifianakis was hilarious. And that being said, thank you very much for the great 4 terms at Beaver News.
Well, we've reached the end of our broadcast, but before we close the show, our producers have some final thoughts for you this evening.
Hi, I'm Hayden Wilcox.
And I'm Hayden Smith.
And we'd like to take this moment to thank you, our viewers, for your viewership and commitment this season.
With the help of our cast and crew, we've grown in both quality and spirit.
That's right. After 80 episodes this year, ranging from October to May, the Beaver News finally has to come to a close for this season.
And even though we won't be back behind the cameras, the Beaver News will continue as a testament of our commitment to our viewers, students, and community members.
We'd like to make a point that this show couldn't have been done without the strength and commitment of our student volunteers and colleagues who put many long, hard hours into making each and every show better than the last.
So thank you to our wonderful crew and our reporters, for without you, this show wouldn't have been possible.
We've had a lot of fun with this show over the year, and we've learned a lot from it.
But now it's time to pass it on to someone else.
So even though the Beaver News will be dormant for summer, we're going to come back in October for another fantastic year with OSU's #1 TV news team.
And the hardest working show on KBVR.
And so with that, we say thank you one last time, in hopes that you will join us again next year.
This has been Beaver News Production Director Hayden Smith.
And Beaver News producer Hayden Wilcox.
Signing off.
Well, that's all the time we have for you this evening. I'm Ashley VanPelt.
And I'm Anna Singer. We're glad you could join us this season.
And for all of us from the Beaver News, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in October. And thank you, crew members upstairs.